Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, where we are currently 1 day away from a fabrication of a claim here, or I guess a justification of a war goal. I should use the correct terminology. I did run the clock forward in between episodes there for a little while, and we'll see how this war goes. I expect it to go incredibly quickly. This is not going to be much of a big deal. So, justification of conquering Westphalia is now completed. So that would mean we'd come up over here, we would declare war, and we would conquer them. Now, the question is, do we want to immediately begin justifying on someone else? Well, who are we justifying on right now? We're justifying on Anhalt, which is up over here. Okay, let's go for, say, Saxony over here. So we could justify on them. How long is that going to take? 185? Do it. Get going on that. If we started another one over here, this is going to be a lot longer, right? Yeah, 375. Let's not go for that. We do have one that's already slow, but we'll see how this goes. So these guys, honestly, they're just going to walk in. There's no one to defend us, or rather to defend them. So that is over. Easy. These guys can now be repositioned somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where we want them. Maybe down here. So they would come and frontline about here. That would mean that we would want to construct a naval base here in Costa Rica, and we can definitely do that. You can also see that I queued up some infrastructure in Brunswick. There may be... Oh, right, that's just supplies. There may be some infrastructure needed out over here now. Looks like the answer to that is no, though. Westphalia appears to be fully maxed. So that looks good. The war will end any moment now. Eventually. They've capitulated. We're just waiting for the war to actually end. There we go. That looks good. So we'll select all, submit demands, and confirm an exit. Easy peasy. As expected, not too much going on there. They don't actually want to join our war. There is no war. So this is all absolutely fine. I will point out, we did actually run out of things for dockyards to do. So I've just maxed out our convoys for now. We'll see what ends up happening over there. That'll be fine for the moment. So we're going to continue to attack over here, of course. It's going to be a little while at this point until we get another justification done. We can see this one, it's a ways away. As is this one. So both of those are going to be fairly slow. This infantry division is a real one. Sounds good. We'll just put that right down over here. Excellent. So we're thinking about how we're going to do our invasions of Central and South America, right? So these guys are currently set up over here. It'll take them some time to get there, but we can see there's already a level 1 naval base constructed there. That's good. We've also got this location in Panama. We control the Panama Canal because we took over the US. We should build a naval base there as well so that we can do something about that. Because that's going to be an interesting war when we fight Colombia, for sure. We're going to want to have a unit of tank here, a unit of infantry here, and we'll probably actually have 2 units. A unit of infantry here and a tank unit here. The tank unit would clean up this area and then push in this way. Would probably be how that would go, but that would be wildly overkill, to be clear. I don't think Colombia would withstand a single tank unit, let alone withstanding 2 and an infantry unit. Wild overkill, in my opinion. But that's fine. That is absolutely a-okay. So that seems just fine. How many more nations do we need to attack over here? Well, I use the term nation loosely. There are a grand total of 7, it looks like. So that is reasonably fine. We should definitely have Europe done this episode, unless you count Crete as part of Europe, because that's part of Egypt. We're not going to be going after Egypt for a while, to be clear. This over here is East Sahara. And they have nothing other than this territory, right? Interesting. They would not join our faction because we would require them to have fascism. And they have mostly communist. So that is, of course, a bit of a problem. I think at this point, most of the people who are going to join the faction have. They've seen the writing on the wall, right? Anybody else, we're just going to have to overrun. I think that's just the way it is. So that's okay. We're absolutely going to do that. These guys down over here, of course, they're going to need to be taken out. But that's going to be a time for later. A later time. Absolutely. Okay, how are we doing on these justifications? There's not all that much to be done, to be honest, until they're done. About 100 days? Yeah, sure. That'll be fine. I guess we can take a look at our construction and see how that's going. So we've got these factories here. We can take a look and see if there's additional factories that we can build in some of these areas we just conquered. And actually, yes. So we can build here and here. And it looks like that's about it for the time being. Okay. We can almost certainly do a region-wide industrial integration, and we should probably do that to construct another factory. And where does that go? Down here. Okay. Looks good. How are we doing on our infrastructure construction? We've got a ways to go on that, looks like. And then there's all these railroads that we queued up that are probably not actually relevant, but we might as well keep them around. After that, it's a bunch of anti-air, right? And we could queue this up and just put it at the bottom of the list, just as, like, something to do while we wait. Sure, why not? We'll get all of this queued up. It seems fine. Having this anti-air queued up would be something to do anyway. So let's get all of these states queued up here. West Virginia and autosave. Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa. Yup, get all of these queued up. I do believe we missed over here. Fantastic. Okay. So it's kind of interesting how the US just didn't bother building any anti-air whatsoever. I question that decision, but sure. Let's see here. We should probably be building in every location that we can right now, since we're pretty much just killing time at this point. That's basically what's happening here. So this out over here, of course, we don't control everything. We only control some areas. But we'll still get the anti-air built there. Excellent. This is going to take a long time before any of this even starts to build, right? So that is absolutely a-okay. We're going to build here as well. This down here, I think, is already all built. We queued that up earlier, so that seems fine. Let's start working our way through the Pacific over here, which the Pacific is kind of spicy. That's a foreign territory there. Okay, there's still some foreign territories in the Pacific here. But a lot of this is controlled by us directly. Certainly not all, but some. A significant portion, I would argue. So we control all of that. That looks good. Here in Australia, we can get all of that done nice and quickly. Excellent. Okay, just checking up through here. Looks like out here needs anti-air. That is fine. Yep, that all looks good now. Do we control this area? We do not yet. Okay, we will get there, for sure. We definitely control here and here. So let's do that. Looks good. Okay, now let's head over to, well, we're auto-saving, but let's head over to Asia at this point. Specifically, India and the more recently conquered areas. So that's absolutely fine. We'll get all of this queued up as well. Eventually, this will get built, and it's not a high priority. We just want it to eventually happen. Do we control this? No, we don't. Okay. I like how we just don't even know what we control anymore. We control a lot of things, but not quite everything, and it's hard to tell what we control and what we don't control in some of these locations. So Africa, there's going to be a fair amount that needs to be built up, but let's do India for now. So I just want to be zoomed out to about here, and we'll just get all of this built up. Should have that over there. Yes, that all looks good. Excellent. So we'll be working our way through this very slowly, but we'll be working our way through it nevertheless. Cool. That looks fine. And then we can come down over to Africa and get this all queued up. There's a fair amount in Africa, of course, but there's also a fair amount of Africa that we don't control. We have significant African holdings, but by no means do we control the entire continent. Cool. Let's check in over here on these little islands. Yep, we need those. Sounds good. And then we'll get all of this up here. Cool. Again, this is probably not necessary, but it's fine to do. I want to check in down here. Yes, okay, that was necessary. Good to know. I thought that we had taken that away. That should be a British holding that we took, so that's fine. Cool. Now we can move into Europe. We'll get all of this queued up. We have the majority of this already pre-built, but we can definitely make our way through here. There's a big old storm over Europe right now. Okay. Makes it kind of hard to see, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, if we zoom in over here, it's not really better because of the UI elements. Okay, that's not necessarily ideal. It's hard to see because of the storm. Hopefully that clears up pretty soon. Yeah, there we go. That was a big chunk of it clearing up. By no means was that all of it, but that'll help a little bit anyway. Okay, this territory over here, lots of little German states here that need anti-air, but I believe that should be pretty much everything over here. Except for there. Okay. So that should be... Hello. Missed a spot here. That should be nearly all of them. We might have a little bit that we missed here and there. It's fine. Let's check in on how we're doing on our justification. 162 out of 185 and 271 out of 325. Okay. So we're making solid progress there. We've got an armored division, which can go here. We've got this infantry division, which should probably end up going here for right now. Is this a real or a fake infantry division? This is a real infantry division. So we're going to put that here. Cool. So that looks absolutely fine. We should have a justification done very shortly here. Yeah, about 2 weeks. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. We should be able to do a region-wide industrial integration. Let's do that and get another one of these civilian factories going. Putting that at the top of the queue. Perfect. I also want to check down here. Did we get these? Yes, we did. Okay. Just wanted to double-check those islands there. So that's all looking good. We've got 756 factories constructing right now. 421 of those are being used in consumer goods. That's a lot. No doubt about that. But we still have about 300 that are being used in construction here. And that's pretty decent. So we're making our way through this queue slowly, but we're certainly making our way through it. I honestly would have expected these to be finished by now, but okay. I guess there's a lot here. So our justification for conquering Saxony is now finished. Now, it's not this Saxony, it's this Saxony. Right? No, it's this Saxony. Hang on. Okay, there we go. We're going to declare this war immediately, and these guys, they're just going to move in. There's not really anything that needs to be done here. This war is already over. So that is done. I want to start justifying on these guys out over here. That'll take 185 days. Do it. Cool. So they capitulate, and now we just need to give it some time here. I want to grab this infantry army, and they are going to be moved down here. Okay, so that'll be fine for now. Netherlands wants to join our war. I wish them luck. So we have 3 military factories right now, specifically 4 of them. And what do we want to put these into? Well, first off, we want to take Saxony, for sure. So we'll just confirm an exit. There we go. That looks good. And nobody actually wants to join this war. It'll expire eventually, but this is fine. Okay, so we do have these free military factories. And what do we want to do with those? Honestly, and maybe we should build up more flame tanks. I mean, we don't really need anything, right? We've got so much goods. It's not really very relevant. We can check up over here and see if there is any infrastructure to be created. Is this part of the Ottoman Empire here? Yes, it is. Okay. Noted. So no infrastructure to be created. Any factories to be built? No. We can convert some of those military factories over to civilian factories, and that may not be the worst idea in the world. So there is that. Well, we've been making some progress here. We're going to be able to declare on Anhalt very shortly here. So that's great. And of course, we are working on conquering Saxony as well. So up here in Anhalt, I want these guys, there's actually units here. I want them to offensive line like this. and they can go ahead and execute that as soon as this war breaks out. There are a fair number of units here. So there is that. But we can attack from a lot of different locations. I don't think we'll have any real problem wiping them out. They just have a fairly large infantry-based army. It shouldn't be a problem. So the justification is now complete, and I want to immediately come down over here. Is this the one that we're currently justifying on? Yes, it is. I want to justify here. So that's going to be another 185 days. We're going to get started on that immediately. Now I want to declare this war, and that is absolutely fine. And we're going to instantly attack. As we can see, they are not doing well. Their army's gone. So that's wonderful. And Anhalt has capitulated. So I'm going to take this army here. They are going to be brought down over this way. And having them be stationed here is going to be awkward supply-wise. But I don't expect that to actually be a big issue going forward. There's going to be a lot of units here. There's going to be a lack of supplies in Panama. And that's fine? Ish. It's fine-ish. For the moment. We're going to want to attack Colombia fairly soon, though. It's going to be a bit of an issue. So we'll confirm an exit here. We took all of their territory. That is fine. Okay, so taking a look at the state of Europe at this point, we can see this. So there's still a state up over here. Is this one out over here? No, that is not. Okay, just wanted to double check that. So there's one here, and then we've got 2 here and 3 here. So a grand total of 6. Not too bad. We'll definitely be through that fairly quickly, especially if all of them we're able to justify on in 185 days. That's the shorter duration, which is good. So that is absolutely fine. It is going to be a little bit before these are ready to be declared, of course. And we have armies in position to attack every single one of these. It's not going to be a problem. Not going to be a problem at all. This little cluster over here is going to be interesting, except that they only have, between the 3 nations here, quote-unquote, they have 1 unit. So that's a thing. It's not much of a unit either. So that's not going to be very difficult to break into. There's another number of troops up here. Frankfurt doesn't have any at all. But there's 26 up here in Waldeck. And that is probably going to be absolutely fine. I don't think there's any major issues there. So in the Caribbean, Haiti is the only thing we don't control, correct? Correct. Only Haiti. So that's not bad. We can definitely get into that fairly easily. We do control Hawaii. I want to double check that we got the infrastructure and factories done here. And anti-air? We did not do the anti-air in Hawaii. Okay, we also missed some of these islands over here in the middle of the Pacific. We can certainly get going on that, although this should not be top priority. Get out of there. This shouldn't be either. Anti-air is not a super high priority at this moment. There's really not all that much in terms of, like, air power that can contest us. In fact, there's basically nothing. So that's fine. We did miss a couple of areas down over here. I'd like to get those queued up anyway. Cool. That seems reasonably fine for the moment. That should be pretty much everything. Of course, Portugal has this little area over here. It's very rude, but they're part of our faction, and so we'll allow them to survive. For now. Well, they're going to be folded into our united government once we take over and move into Stellaris, is the idea. So that's fine. We've got an armored division and an infantry division finishing at the same time. They're both real, and so we're going to move them out over here. Looks great. We're up to 16.88 million manpower, and we're growing by 61k monthly. Like, this is not a problem. Not a problem at all. Our war support is definitely improving, 17.72, and our base value is 6.5. Next time we go to war, we should probably do something about that, but we can do region-wide industrial integration again and get ourselves another civilian factory somewhere. Where does that go? I'm not immediately seeing it. which means it's probably hidden somewhere. Maybe it's this. That's Anhalt. We just conquered that. I'm not sure if it's that or not. It might be, or it might be one of these little islands somewhere. We can take a peek down over this direction and see what we can find. If there are any out over here that we can build in. There may or may not be at this point. It may have been Anhalt, or it may not have been Anhalt. So it's very hard to say. But we can take a look. What do we got? I mean, Taiwan has one. It was probably Taiwan then, and Anhalt just had an open slot when we conquered it. That is my theory that I'm going to go with. Okay, so that sounds good. No problem there. Let's take a quick peek at how we're doing on these justifications. So we've got about 100-ish days, or like 80-ish days here, and then like 100-ish days here. Okay. Not too bad, in theory. We'll get both of those dealt with very, very quickly. We're working on these two areas, so it's not like that's going to be complicated for us to take over. We're going to take all of this over very quickly. No doubt about that. I think Bremerhaven is probably our next target. I want to check something. 375 days. If we come down over here, what would it be? 980. Okay, yep. We're not doing that. So we are going to cancel this justification. I just wanted to test that. Yes, we lose some political power from that, but I wanted to make sure that that was the way that that worked. It's not going to be great to do more justifications than 2. 2 seems to be about the right number. So with that in mind, it is going to take us some time to clean the rest of this up, but to be honest, not as much time, I think, as it maybe feels like. We're going to be able to make relatively rapid progress. There's not that many remaining nations, but it will take some time. I think that's the takeaway here. We've got a free military factory, and honestly, I kind of want to do some factory conversions. Let's see, how do we do that again? I believe we have to go into the state itself and do this. Converting those over to civilian factories. So that should put it at the bottom of the list, I believe. Yeah, we'll move that up to the top for now. So we'll just start converting some of those factories over. How long will that take? About a month. 11,700. It's actually more expensive to convert than it is to build a new factory. Okay, that's kind of wild. But whatever. It's okay. We've got this infantry division. That is going to head over to here. Cool. Do we have another one? No, we don't. Okay. So, we don't want to be in air mode. Checking in on our justifications here. 105 and 136, so about 50 days. Sure. We're going to let that tick forward. I would like to have both of these done before the end of the episode. I think that's a reasonable thing to do here. And I would like to be started on new justifications at the end of the episode. So that way we're able to do what we did here and start the next episode immediately ready to go to war again and cut out some of this wait period anyway. I think that'll be the best way to do it going forward. So that should be absolutely fine in theory. Cool. So only a few days then. This is going to be like 36 days. That's not too bad. And this is going to be like 70. Well, 65. Again, not too bad. Not too bad at all. But we're just cruising forward on speed 5 here, letting our number of nukes accumulate. We now have 424 nuclear bombs. And we're about to get another one. Now we have 425. Excellent. How many free military factories do we have right now? 2 is the answer. Well, we are working on these conversions, and for the moment, that's okay. Excellent. And these military factories are making some amount of progress. But it is taking a while. No doubt about that. They're moving fairly slowly. We're working on all of this infrastructure as well. That is going to take a while as well. That's okay. We know that it's going to be slow. And then the railroads will be relatively quickly once we actually get there. So that's fine. We'll work our way through this. We'll be through that construction queue, most likely, by the time we finish conquering the world. So that'll all be good. Let's hop in here and take a quick look at how we're going again. Okay, we are currently lacking 45 days, and we are lacking just 2 weeks. Beautiful. No problem there. So it's going to be, I believe, these guys. Yes, these guys that we attack first. Now we'll have to figure out what we want to do with each of these armies. We'll be repurposing them out over this way, most likely. So Guatemala is in our faction. Honduras and El Salvador down here are things that exist that we can attack. And then there's also Colombia out over here. We know we want Colombia to be dealt with fairly quickly. There's a level 6 naval base right now, but these guys are taking attrition, and that's understood. Our justification for conquering Saxony is done. I want to hop over here. I want to justify on these guys 185 days. Absolutely do it. We're going to declare this war. And inward we go. It's already over. Cool. So they've capitulated, and we're going to then take this army. I'm going to put them here on the border with Honduras. That'll be fine. Excellent. So now we're just waiting for this war to end. And eventually it will. I'm not sure why it takes so long to end, though. It really shouldn't. I mean, we're justifying simultaneously, so it's fine, but it's very strange. Okay, so we're taking their territory, and let's check in to see if there's any infrastructure that needs to be built here. No. Any civilian factories? Actually, yes. So we're going to queue that on up. Phenomenal. And no, you guys don't want to join our wars. That's for sure. These are incredibly brief, and you have absolutely nothing to gain from them. Absolutely nothing. So we're currently 167 days into this. Noted. So this is only about 2 weeks out at this point. So Saxony is going to have a little bit of fight to it, but really not very much. It will fall incredibly quickly as well. That's all fine. Absolutely A-okay. Taking a quick look at our current setup here. Yeah, they're down to 5. Looks good. That is absolutely going to be done next episode. We're justifying on 2 of the 5 as of right now. And 1 is going to fall before the end of this episode because we're really close to it. 178 out of 185. Beautiful. This is a real infantry division here, and so it goes into this reserve force. Looks good. And we should be ready to declare this momentarily. This is not us. Okay. We are at 183 out of 185. Beautiful. So the Saxon Proletarian Revolt is going to fall. We can declare this war. Are we justifying on these guys right now? Yes, we are. I want to come up over here to Bremerhaven and get them out of the way. So we're going to start justifying on them. That'll be 185 days. Do it. And we are absolutely going to declare this war. And in we go. You guys can just come in. Oh, they can't go in this way? Awkward. Okay. Well, they're going to fall shortly anyway, so just hop in over here. Yeah, stack wiped, and it's over. Cool. And they capitulate. We'll send this army, if we can select the whole thing, we'll send this army off over this direction where they're going to take the border with El Salvador. Excellent. So that looks good. And, of course, now we've got our justifications to continue, but let's just wait for the peace conference here. It'll be momentarily. There must be, like, a minimum length of war, is what I'm thinking. So we'll grab Saxony, of course. We'll submit those demands and confirm and exit. Let's make sure that we have any infrastructure that we might need over here, any civilian factories that we might need over here. Yep, that all looks good. With that, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to be back once we have a justification almost complete here. So we'll skip like 150 days here or so, somewhere around there. We'll be like almost 6 months later. like 5 months later, something like that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.